Whitlow is on your left. Rosum is on your right. It's Elves. It's Jeskai Control. And it's Whitlow currently up a game, though Rosum appears to be doing much better this game. I see an Elspeth Suns champion on 5 with 3 soldiers in the battlefield, a whole bunch of lands, and the ability to activate Ascanta, the Sunken Ruin.
We saw a lot of Elves in Louisville last weekend, and I think it was a response mostly to humans. Elves is very powerful against creature decks that do not play a lot of removal. It's pretty good across the board in those games. Less so against Jeskai, although Whitlow is up a game here. Looks like we're going to be going to – my sense is we're going to 3 in a moment.
I am with you on that one, partner, because we are going to see these Elves all die to these soldiers that Elspeth will continue to crank out. The follow-up here. And Nettle Sentinel, another Elvish Arc Druid, and simply pass the turn back. Will Whitlow over to Rosum. Rosum with looks like just 1 card left in hand and the inability to activate Ascanta now this turn, but I still think that Jonathan is doing pretty well for himself.
I think his last card here is Snapcaster Mage with a lot of removal and Supreme Verdict in the graveyard. A commanding position,
to say the least. There is Snap. Here is Path. Take care of that Arc Druid. Whitlow will get to search for a land. Rosum will draw a card. Again, you do see the Elspeth on the battlefield, and that'll be activated soon enough, I'm sure. First, he'll start with Ascanta. Top 4 cards, another Path to Exile. You see Rosum's life total as well, 16. That's a lot of those. That's a lot of hit points.
Yes. And getting through on the ground is going to be problematic against Elspeth for forever.
Why?
Explain
it.
So at the minimum, he gets 3 chump blockers a turn. That's kind of the floor of what he does, and that's just a button he gets to push along with the other button, which is search for Ascanta, finding a removal spell. And the game's gone on for long enough at this point that I'm assuming that Whitlow hand's probably pretty soft. If he had anything Premier, we would have seen it by now. Rosum's position only gets better over time. Whitlow's gets worse unless he is able to randomly piece together some sort of combo, which seems unlikely. And all this is confirmed by the fact that Whitlow drew and picked up all of his cards.
Yes. Jonathan Rosum going to win game number 2 here over Patrick Whitlow. Jeskai Control and Elves, they're all tied up. Great explanation there, partner.
Thank you.
Way to really break it down early this morning. The coffee is kicking in.
I'm a pro's pro. I see all the line.
And he can break it down for you like nobody else can. More Elves and Jeskai Control. Just a bit. Heather Phillips, Patrick Sullivan getting ready to watch game number 3 here between Patrick Whitlow playing Elves and Jonathan Rosum playing Jeskai Control. Rosum off to another great start here this weekend. Number 2 on the SCG Tour leaderboard is the player on your right. Has dabbled in humans and various other takes of Jeskai, but he's playing a much more controlling build of Jeskai here this weekend. And it's paid off in spades.
Yeah, he's had a very good performance so far. Has to be happy with this matchup, even though we're going to game 3 here. And Elves, as a metagame response to decks without removal, looks a lot worse when you play against a deck that is nothing but removal.
Yeah, that's going to make things pretty difficult there for Patrick Whitlow. His splash, of course, is for black here this weekend. We saw that from Jonathan Job last weekend in Louisville. That's for Shaman of the Pack primarily, maybe a little bit of discard hiding out in the sideboard there for Whitlow. But this is going to be a tough way to do it, especially because Rosum is going to be loaded up on removal after sideboard.
Yeah, being on the play for Game 3 is a big deal, but you can see him thumbing through his sideboard right now. It looks like the logic nods are coming out. I imagine this deck is basically all removal, sweepers, cryptic commands, and however he goes about winning the game is incidental.
Well, while these players do finish up sideboarding here for game number 3, you see the clock, about 26 minutes left. Plenty of time for them to work and get through this 3rd and final game. We're going to talk about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale. Not a lot of time left to get your hands on select Eternal Singles.
And make sure to be going back to the website at least once a week. Every week there's a new sale with a new category. It starts 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday, East Coast time. So, again, make sure to be checking back at least once a week. And for a limited time remaining, you can get up to 20% off select Eternal Singles over at go.starcitygames.com/weekly sale.
Game number 3 about to be underway. You saw Dylan Hand earlier in this round win his match. He's your lone undefeated player here with 5-color humans. 10-0 is Dylan, top 8 at last weekend with humans in Louisville. Looking at top 8 here again this weekend in Minneapolis with humans. Very, very good deck. Doesn't appear as though many players decided to sleeve up Marshall Arthur's undefeated deck last weekend, though again we will have a metagame breakdown for you. We'll see just how much humans, Maru Pyromancer, and Jeskai Control in the room here in day number 2 of competition as 67 players made day number 2.
Yeah, we should get the metagame breakdown a little bit faster than last week when there were 2.5 times as many players in the second day as we have right now. So hopefully we'll get that over to you soon.
Of course, we've got 6 rounds to cover here before we make our cut to the top 8. You at home will get to decide the quarterfinals, and then we will watch all the events unfold. Someone will walk out of here with $5,000, 30 SCG Tour points, and an invite to our Season 1 Invitational Weekend.
It's coming up.
2 weeks, man. 2 weeks. Time flies. Pretty crazy. Looks like Whitlow's going to take a mulligan.
It's a very exciting event. I'm disappointed to not be making it.
Yeah, it should be a really good one.
Yeah.
See if Whitlow can find 6 that he's happy with. All right, top card going to stay on top. Guiltleaf Palace is where we will start. For Rosum, he'll take 2, fall down to 18 for his Serum Visions. John will draw a card, and then he will scry twice. 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Let's go back over to Whitlow. Whitlow will draw. Forest, Llanowar Elves, pass the turn back. Back to Rosum.
I like when people argue for, Modern needs better cantrips. And we, Ponder and Preordain, who knows, maybe we should have that. And when I see someone Serum Vision on turn 1, I'm like, well, that's game. I don't know. I don't know if you need to do a whole lot better than that.
Here's an attack for 1. We have an Azuri. I can't imagine that's going to live. Rosum going to very quickly sacrifice a Flooded Strand, get himself a basic Plains, and I believe he even has a copy of Lightning Helix in the grip to get a little bit of life back. And that's what you'll find.
You can see Rosum here cut the logic knots by the looks of things, but he has brought in the negate because he is very interested in winning the battle over Court of Calling and Collected Company. He doesn't want the counters in general because Elves is full with so many 1-mana cards that are interchangeable, so you don't want to have a bunch of permission, but winning the battle over the spells is a big deal.
Rosum going to figure out what his 3rd land's going to be. He does have access to a Hallowed Fountain right now. Curious to see if it'll enter tapped or untapped. The question's just been answered. It will enter the battlefield tapped. As we head back over to Whitlow, this appears to be an Elvish Visionary. Whitlow will draw a card.
When your opponent goes turn 1 Serum Vision, 1 on top, 1 on bottom, you're like, oh my god, I'm dead. Like on the first turn, it's like, all right.
Negate will take care of Lead the Stampede, and we will head back over to Rosum. I know that feeling.
Yeah. Like, oh my.
I mean, we can keep playing or not.
Yeah.
It's your call, man. It's your call. Looks like another copy of Lead the Stampede here. That is a Heritage Druid. Pass the turn back, maybe represent Collected Company.
Forgot to attack, maybe.
Yeah. you nailed it again. Cavern's going to get blown up by Field of Ruin. Rosum will search up an island.
Whitlow bringing the heat.
Yeah, you don't see gurus often.
Yeah. I had him for a little bit for when I had 1 copy of a basic in my deck, but then that started kind of offending my sensibilities over time, so I got rid of them. But they are nice.
I strive to have a guru mana base at some point in my life.
Yeah, I think the whole mana base is a little too ostentatious for me. I like a sprinkle of it.
I'm not one who really operates in moderation.
That's fair.
So, Engineer Explosives is going to blow up some things. Here's Collected Company.
And
top 6.
Rosum with Supreme Verdict in his hand, so he's just trying to bleed this stuff out. Azuri's a nice hit, though, for the regeneration.
Rosum has a path. He says, I'll wait. In the draw step. Now I'll use that. Whitlow will get the search.
In the draw step to make it a fraction of a % more likely that he draws a forest for his turn.
That's right.
Rosum.
That's right.
All the angles.
Kid doesn't miss anything.
Doesn't miss anything.
I think that's a miscut forest.
Yeah. Less aesthetically pleasing to me than the Guru, but still.
Teach their own.
Right. I like having the range.
Ely Cassis is probably loving it.
Yeah.
Not for me. Here's Lead the Stampede. That's going to resolve. Top 5. Let's see how many creatures he can find. The answer is quite a few. Bunch of 1-mana dorks there. Looks like a Shaman of the Pack within those 1-mana elves. We're going to head back over to Rosum now. Looks like Land of War Elves, Elvish Mystic, Heritage Druid, Shaman of the Pack.
Yeah, Whitlow here with 1 Lead the Stampede in the main deck and then 2 more in the board. So this is his plan for grinding through removal.
Serum Visions, draw a card. Scry 2. Sapcaster Mage among those cards.
Oh no, 1 on top, 1 on bottom.
Yeah. That's game.
Yep,
There it is. There's the split.
I don't want to play it out.
Scalding Tarn the land there for Rosum. Let's go back over to Whitlow. Elvish Visionary, draw a card. Whitlow's not going to run out of cards here.
No.
There's an attack for 2. The problem is he's just not dealing much damage.
Yeah, the clock's slow, and the more if he commits enough to make the clock appreciable, then Rosum can chew him up with a sweeper.
Mm-hmm.
So Rossum's happy here taking these lumps.
There's Darwin's Elite.
With Snapcaster Mage in hand, this might be enough to induce a Supreme Verdict.
Yep. Especially because Rosum has that Snapcaster Mage.
Right.
Which he can snap Verdict. So we head back over to Whitlow.
And 2 paths in hand here. So the hope is that you can handle the second wave with a sweeper and then pick apart the leftovers with your paths. That isn't, at that point you're kind of at neutral. It's not clear that you're winning the game, but it's not a bad position to be in.
Hellish Archdruid, Shaman of the Pack, take 5, and Whitlow is now out of gas.
Yeah, this is the best case scenario here for Rosum. I think he was. The realistic expectation is that Whitlow has a second wave but doesn't dump out his whole hand, and you can manage the third wave with your paths, but getting everything, and it's your 2 paths against his nothing, that's a really great position.
I agree, as here is Snap. This is Verdict. Clean them all up. Jeskai really good at killing other creatures. Scalding Tarn from Rosum pass the turn back. Whitlow will draw and pass. Rosum will sacrifice. That Scalding Tarn going to fall down to 10, Will John.
Yeah.
There is a Sacred Foundry.
Snapcaster Mage is a lot, too. That card is a lot.
He's actually going to go to the Steam Vents. A lot of the cards in this deck are a lot.
Yeah.
If you showed up with creatures against this deck, you are doing it wrong. Rosum will draw. He'll simply pass the turn back over to Patrick. Patrick will pass the turn back over to John. John will draw. Colonnade, that's a way to finish it off.
Yep, there you go.
Visionary will draw a card. Pendelhaven going to team up with that Visionary, maybe. Cryptic Command, the draw. That's fun. Scalding Tarn, pass the turn back. Looks like that'll be a Blooming Marsh. Rosum will sacrifice that Scalding Tarn. He's going to fall down to 9. Another Ravnica Shock, probably going to end the battlefield tapped here in a moment. It'll be the Sacred Foundry this time. Another Colonnade. Rosum will pass. Rosum just looking for a clean way to finish it off. Teferi will work. Colonnades will work over time. Snapcaster not so bad either. Another Verdict to draw.
I'm surprised that Rosum here isn't attacking at all with the Colonnade since he has enough mana to still Cryptic. But I suppose his position's only getting better over time.
Well, as we continue to do this, I would say that Rosum has the more powerful draws here. But you do want to close it out eventually, right?
Yeah, I mean, the deck's got Collected Company and Court of Calling, and you don't have any. I guess he has the 1 counter in hand. So this allows him to Cryptic and Path twice. I guess that's the line for him where he feels comfortable making the attack.
There is a Elvish Mystic. Rosum will untap. Rosum will draw. Colonnade you again. Put you to 12. Whitlow will draw. Blooming Marsh pass the turn back. Rosum will draw. Beep, beep. Down 8. Island, pass it.
That's quite. Colonnade is quite the card too.
It's a real hoot. It's a real hoot. Here's a Heritage Druid. Another Heritage Druid.
Yep.
Gotta be a little careful because here comes Shaman of the Pack, maybe. Yep. So trigger on. Going to path that. Maybe path another one or Cryptic one.
Basically, Rosum wants to manage this and still leave the Cryptic left over, so he has the ability to fight over a Collecting Company or Court of Calling.
Mm-hmm. Path the Elvish Mystic, okay. And now, if the Shaman of the Pack trigger resolves, Rosum will take 3. Another Shaman of the Pack. Rosum will take 4. Here's Cryptic, and we are done. And Jonathan Rosum going to win this match over Patrick Whitlow. 2-1. Jeskai Control going to take care of Elves, and for Rosum and his creature elimination strategy, it's 9-1, folks. He's doing great.
Well, beating spot removal plus sweepers plus counter spells is really challenging for Elves, and that is all the deck is post-board. There you are.